Watch his little podcasting. Yeah, here we are at the old podcasting studio. You know what we're doing? We're podcasting. Here's my cohort. That's scary.
All right, we are back in the studio in Paris, Tennessee for another episode of
Feels
the Sounds Like Life. Can't beat it, man.
Feels like home.
It really, well, it is home.
It feels like home, sounds like life.
Feels like home, sounds like life.
That
could be a tag to that song. I like that.
I might have to write "feels like home."
Feels like home.
So I should know how that feels.
Yeah.
I'm there, 3 or 4 days a year.
Yeah. Well, brother, I appreciate you being here today
Yes,
and pushing through a little under the weather over there. So
yep,
but
let's
you're
tell
making
the
it
folks
through?
that I'm going to be slurping on these
Yeah.
mints and cough drops. But no, it'll be good. I'm feeling better, and nothing in the world to make you feel better than to get back to work, and especially doing something you love.
Yeah, it is.
This is always fun, man. I this has just kind of become almost like a brand new way for me to stay in touch with my peoples and not have to be gone so far from home.
Yeah.
Pretty cool.
And have some good engagement. That's one of the things
Yes.
we're going to celebrate today.
Hey, yeah.
And I use the word celebrate because it's so cool. And I'm getting to dip my toe in your world a little bit of the people that we were in Colorado Springs last week. And I mean, I'm getting to meet people and just, they're taking pictures and they're watching every episode and telling me stories. And I'm going, man, did we say that? Yeah, we did. We said that in that episode. So
Yep, we did.
so we're just soaking that up, and just, man, it's this is a good way for us to just say thank you to some of them. We've got a new voicemail hotline where they can call in and be part of the show.
Yeah, I love it.
And then we're going to read some of the comments, because the comments of the engagement, man, the numbers are just out of this world right now, and that's fun stuff.
I wouldn't have dreamed it. And I've said this a million times, coming from a guy that when he first heard about when podcast became a term that you heard quite a bit, every day, I thought it had something to do with fishing, maybe an internet fishing show or something. I'm being sincere.
And maybe that's there's probably a spinoff of that before it's all said and done.
Look out.
If someone wants to sponsor a fishing show, I'm pretty sure that would give us an excuse to go fishing.
Man, that's all I need is an excuse.
Right. Now, I see you brought some props there with you today. Tell me please tell me what's going on
We just
there.
came off of our big veterans whitetail hunt that we do up in Sydney, Ohio, every year in January. It's the last little stint of muzzleloader season that they have.
Yeah.
And we have some vets come in, just a wide array of different people from different branches of the service, different stories. It doesn't matter. We pick people that we love and people that we think will fit the bill and come in and enjoy our company and us enjoy theirs. And so this year, you guys were going to come up and shoot some episodes of the podcast and talk to the people. Chris Meyer and his wife Christine, who have been helping us put this thing on for so many years, and all the guys that help out, and the cameramen, everybody. We're going to do some episodes of the podcast. And I contacted Julianne and I said, man, I am just exhausted from a long, hard year. And I said, I just think I need to just chill and do this, and you guys are very understanding about it, but we had already lined up some of the vets, and there's this one guy, I was with him in his blind when he shot his buck, big buck. Matter of fact, I was hunting the same year. I was hunting up there the day before, the last day of bow season, which was the day before muzzleloader opened again, and I saw his buck from a deer stand. I was there with my bow, but he was 180 yards behind me, and he's massive. And I got a really good look at him. And so when he came out on us the next afternoon, I said, I saw that buck yesterday. And he shot him and killed him. Wow. And it was wonderful, Anyway, his name's John Puckett. He's an incredible guy, veteran. We hunted him not long after he had gotten out of the service and everything. And he had gone and watched every episode of our podcast and was absolutely loving it. And he saw one of the episodes and he thought that it would make sense to get you a gift.
Okay.
And send it to you. And I thought that was so thoughtful of him. So
That's absolutely.
So he picked this item up, which I thought, so this is one of the props, but this is the gift. This is it's a cowboy brand. It's called a 4-way hat stretcher pro.
Oh man.
John Puckett is one of the best dudes you'll ever meet. And it's going to tickle him to death because I told him, I said, we're going to talk about you and this gift when we do our episode. Dude, it's the real deal. I've seen those. Most of them only stretch in the lengthwise way,
That's
like
a 4-way, though. Yeah,
oval.
which I need. I got the width.
You
there.
definitely need the 4-way, and
Yeah, I
he
appreciate
got you the
that.
right gift.
Looky there.
Well, I didn't mean it like that, but I mean, if you're going to get a hat stretcher, you're needing it.
I don't know if they make 5-way, but we may need it for him.
Appreciate that, Sam.
Whoa,
Thank you, buddy.
I'm going to stay out of that.
Fighting words right there. I'll have to read the
I'm going to tell you
instructions.
something right
but
now.
That's pretty cool.
Not a cheap.
That's a fancy deal.
That's a high dollar item right there. Look at the quality of that wood and how well it's done.
Yeah. So you screw it like that.
So, John, I thought that was really thoughtful
John, I
of you.
appreciate that, brother. I can't wait to meet you.
He's going to do the podcast with us.
Good.
He was
Good,
all
good,
about
good.
it, and he really enjoyed the episodes that he'd seen.
Yeah.
And just what we do here. I
Right.
mean, we number one, we tell the truth, but we talk about our patriotic bones. We talk about our.
It's not gonna work either. Is it?
No, it's not gonna work. I mean, it was actually just kind of gonna tip and slide off of there.
It wasn't even gonna start.
No.
Well, this is pretty cool. I will. This
Hat
will actually
stretching.
now it's gonna have a spot on the set before it's all said and done. It's gonna make it an official location.
That's a pretty cool idea right there. We
Yeah.
might be getting all kinds of stuff now.
Yeah. Well, we'll figure out how to make it stand.
Got the-
That's pretty cool. Thank you so
it's-
much for that.
It's
and
the
I can't wait.
4-way hat stretcher pro.
Yeah.
Thank you, John.
Appreciate that. Appreciate that.
Well,
Well, I think Mike's got our new voicemail line.
cool.
Where folks can call in. So as you see these and hear these and you come up with questions or just want to say, hey, Darryl, and tell stories about how these songs mean something to you, we're going to be playing them and commenting on it and going from there. So
Yeah. We'll have the graphic up. The number is 731-227-2460. You can call that and leave a voicemail. You'll hear my voice on there. Apologize for that, but we got we got a couple of voicemails. If you guys want to go ahead and listen to one.
let's go for it.
that'd be awesome.
All right.
Hey, boys, this is Tim. I'm from Murfreesboro. Darryl, I got a question for you, man. You done sang all the songs you can. You've been everywhere. You done the thing. I'm wondering, you seem so comfortable on screen. Have you ever been into acting? You ever done anything like that? I'm sure we'd love to see you on the big screen, get some of these liberals out of Hollywood.
That's our people right there.
Thank you, Tim. That's pretty cool right
yes,
there.
Yes, sir. Oh, well, hey, I'll tell you a couple of things. I did a movie called Oldham County about a county up in right outside of Louisville there in Kentucky. And it was kind of based on a real story about drug smugglers smuggling cocaine into and out of places in Kentucky using like mares, racehorse mares, and they're packing this stuff inside the mares and smuggling it. And that thing is still online. I saw it the other day. You could go and buy it. I can't remember how much it was, but I've been in several films. There's another film that's out there right now on PureFlix that you can go and watch. It's called The Three. It's pretty interesting watch. It's a faith-based movie, but my part was not real faith-based. It was something I didn't necessarily know if I wanted to do. Look, there it is. And because I basically play the devil. If I'm not the devil, I'm his right-hand man. So, and I steered away from it for some reasons that I won't get into right now. But the guy that wrote the film and produced it called me and said, "Man, I'd like to talk to you about this." He said, "I really think that if you did this, it might be good for you." So that in itself was a bit of a stretch, but I asked him to elaborate, and he did, and I thought, wow, that I would have never in a million years thought of what he said to me, and it convinced me to give it a shot, and it was a very, very short prep time for me. It was like I had to do it a couple days later, and I had a big part in the film, so you can check that out. There was an X-Men thing that I back when I was a whole lot bigger and actually in shape and younger. I almost got a part in one of those. I was going to be like a great big huge alien dude that I don't know if you'd ever really seen my face or not, but anyway. So the one though that sticks out in my mind, that's the coolest. Hey, I got to say this on my podcast real quick. So Mark Colley's a very close friend of mine, and right now he's in Landman with Billy Bob, and I told Mark before he went out there, I said, "Now you need to talk to Billy Bob. Y'all need to come up with something that I can do in that series, you know."
Yeah.
So if you're out there, Mark, and you catch us, we may have to put this out as like a teaser or something.
Season 2, we expect to see
Listen here,
Darryl
buddy.
Worley on there.
I can set
and his co-host too.
I can set fires.
Yeah. We can blow shit up too. We promise.
Big stuff.
Yeah.
Really like, but anyway. So yeah, the one that sticks out in my mind is Night at the Museum.
Mm-hmm.
They approached me about going to L.A. and reading, and they had told me we were really kind of trying harder back then to pull off a part. A lot of people don't know this. Me and Mark Colley read for the same part in this film, but I almost landed a film in the movie they made in Nashville at the old prison, The Castle.
Really?
I came really, really close on that one. We had a misunderstanding, and I don't hear so great. And so when the guy asked me to do my own interpretation, I thought he said something else, and I did something else. And he was like, and he said, "I think that guy would be perfect, but he doesn't follow direction well." So I just barely missed that one.
Wow.
But so there's an interesting story about the Night at the Museum. I was going to L.A. quite a bit at that time and reading for parts. And they said, "You'll have to make that commitment. You know, you'll have to buy some plane tickets, and you'll have to come out here because they're going to expect to see you when you." So the Night at the Museum thing, they were looking for that dude Jedediah to lead like the little. I think it was a Confederate cavalry unit or something. Yeah. And of course, obviously Owen got the gig, but the story goes, the lady who I had read for several times, and she liked me. She thought that she said, you'll if you keep doing this, you're going to land something. So my first thing with her was to read for the X-Men thing, which I almost scored. But she called the lady in Nashville that was kind of her co-worker and said, "Why don't you get him in character and have him do this and video it? Send it to us, and then we'll see where it goes from there." So I was telling you guys before we started the podcast today that I had at the time I had long hair and I had a big old beard, but they said, "Hey, you could shave that off into a goatee, you know, and get it all trimmed up right, and you could look kind of like General Custer, you know." And I said, "I can do that." So the lady's like, "Would you do?" And I said, "Absolutely." So we did, and got the right outfit and all this stuff, and I did the parts, and they videoed it. Sent it to L.A., and they flipped over it. Yeah. She said, "Tell him to get out here as quick as he can." And they gave me a time, so I flew out, and I read. She loved it. She said, she winked at me as I was leaving and said, "I think you got this one."
Wow.
Which would have been really cool,
really
man. And they called me like a day and a half later and said, "Well, I got good news and bad news." Of course, the good news is always, "Hey, you can come back anytime. We love you." But
right.
Owen Wilson got the part, and I'm like, "Oh, just what he needs is another part."
Yeah.
And so anyway, that was, and I mean, there's probably a few other stories, but those are the ones that really stick out my mind.
That's a cool one.
Yeah.
That's a cool one.
Yeah.
I love that. That's a good show.
Oh, I love it. Yeah, I watched it too, and I thought, you know, I'd have been a fan of that even if I hadn't had anything to do with it. But I tell you, man, the reading and doing all that stuff, is very intense.
Oh,
You can sit here and talk and do all this what we do, but when you got all them people shouting different instructions and you only have so many lines, and it's just different. It's pretty intense. I think I'd be better at it now after doing a lot of this, and also performing on camera was at one time was a bit of a feat, and now I mean it's just time
More
and
natural,
experience.
yeah.
You learn how to shut your brain off and forget it's there.
right.
So
Just making it natural. That's awesome. What else you got over there, Mike? Play us
Yeah,
another one.
I got another voicemail if you guys are ready for it.
Go for it.
All right.
Hey, this is Maggie. I'm from Duluth, Georgia. I have a question for Darryl. Hey, Darryl, do you have any embarrassing stories of things that have happened on stage? We hear all these things about how good your shows are and all that, but I'm sure you've had some blunder or something like that. We'd love to hear a funny story about maybe the most embarrassing moment that you have while playing the show. Love the show, guys. Thank you.
man, I could just go on and on.
When she said embarrassing,
to tell
it's
you
like,
the
oh,
truth,
man.
it never ends. Well, I'll tell you this. Earlier in my career, as a matter of fact, we've been talking about getting Trace on here. It was when Trace and I were on the road together doing the Big Men of Country show, and we were at it's called the Testicle Festival in Oklahoma. Yeah. It's a calf fry, big, huge calf fry festival, and they call it the Testicle Festival. That's a fact. And
I'm going to need that bleep button ready to go.
you know what that is, don't you?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I'm just giving you a hard time.
You had that look on your face like I
Well,
did.
it took
Well,
me
I was going to explain it.
No, it took me. Well, go ahead and
you know.
explain it for everybody else, but it took me a minute because I thought in my head,
A testicle.
Daryl just said testicle festival.
yeah.
And I'm not, he didn't say that. And then I was like,
So you know all
No.
about the vas deferens and the seminiferous tubules and all that.
that's you're showing your degree.
If you don't think that's real, go look it up. But I'm not getting into it.
So explain what they do. I mean,
Well, at that time in my life, I was a little testier than what I am 20-something years later. And we were probably 3/4 of the way through our show, and it was we just had a great show. And it was a big old festival, man. There was like, if you look across the town square here in Paris to the stuff you can see on the other side of the square, there was people even further back than that.
wow.
It was a big crowd of
Wow.
people. And some lunatic in the maybe first, and it was no rows. It was just people standing side by side and in front of them, behind each other
Yeah.
as far as you can see, and screaming and hollering. And boy, we were throwing down, and some jackass threw about a quarter of a pitcher of beer. In other words, a beer pitcher about a quarter full, just hurled it, and it came. I saw it and didn't really have time to respond, but it hit right on the neck of my guitar. And I mean, it sent this unbelievable thing through my earbuds into my
I bet.
head. Not to mention, it was a pretty new guitar. Anyway, I didn't handle it well. And I jumped off the stage.
Did you really?
Yeah, right into the lake of fire. And because I could see the guy, and by the time I made it through a couple of layers of people, these big old security dudes just had a hold of him, and they drug him out, and I turned around and climbed back on stage. And that's the part, is that you got to go back up there and then try to
Collect yourself and
explain
your
yourself.
instrument,
Yeah. And so, of course, all the people up front, up close, were going crazy, hell yeah, all that crap. But it was a little bit of an embarrassing moment. I thought I could have done better with that, probably just said, hey, security, right here's some lunatic, just
him out.
I guarantee you people have got videos of that, and I've never seen one. But man, that's I mentioned that one to probably steer away from a couple of other ones that popped in my head when she immediately said that. Ma'am, you couldn't be more right about the embarrassing moments. There's plenty of them. And I mean, it happened. I ran out on the stage one night. We might have been in Lawrenceburg. We were somewhere close, and I hung a cable that had not been taped down, and it was supposed to be, under. And I mean, I just face planted right on the stage.
Wow.
Of course, it don't matter how bad you're hurt at that moment. You going to get right back on your feet and act like nothing ever happened.
Right.
That's all you can do.
That's all you can do.
I was hurt.
Man.
But I mean, it just goes on and on. Because there's moments when you do it in live shows. There's moments when you do it in acoustic shows. It happens. It's just, that's why I try to explain to these young people that want to go out every night and have a perfect show that it's never gonna happen. Yeah. It's never gonna happen, and it's real easy to embarrass yourself. Most of the time, you don't see it coming.
How often do you forget the words?
Not very often.
It's muscle memory now.
You know what the biggest deal is on that?
Mm-hmm.
Is to don't ever think about it. No matter, and you
relax.
can feel you can feel the dark man getting in the back of your head.
Mm-hmm.
It starts way back there. It's a very distant, faint thing that comes on, and you just go, I rebuke thee, Satan, in the name of Jesus Christ, because it's coming, and you know it's coming. And if he can convince you not to quit thinking about it, it's just when you think about it. If you immediately go, that's out of here, I'm not doing it.
Not doing it. Yeah.
When it comes time for that line, it's almost like he puts a earmark on the line he wants you to forget, because you'll start thinking about that line.
Yeah.
And you'll go, it's not coming to me. Well, it's not supposed to yet.
Right.
And there's a process. And it'll come out when it's supposed to. It's all about thinking about it. And so if you master that, and because in the last couple weeks, it's happened. But I didn't forget it, because I just kicked that thought out of my head, and I rebuked it, and I said, when it comes time for that line, it'll be there. And it is.
Wow.
It's in there. You just have to resist all those temptations to fall apart.
So let me ask you this, and I know we'll come back to some of those stuff. Walk me through the pre-show ritual, because there's so many times that I just scratch my head, because, and I know at times I'm one of the worst ones about it, that keep you busy until you finally go, oh, the band's kicking off, I gotta go. But I mean, again, how do you get yourself at 60 years old up and at it and staying fresh? And I know you're healthy. You always, you talk about your exercise and trying to do some of that stuff. Is there any tricks to that if I'm someone out there listening that I could take?
Pre-show rituals?
Just pre-show, or even if it's not the day of, but
I think that most of the time, and you've already said it, most of the time I am entertaining somebody right up until time to walk on the stage. If there happens to be a night where that's not happening, and I see it, I'll always see it just a minute or two before it's time to walk on stage, because I know it's coming. The guy's up there introducing me. He's already made all of his announcements. He's going to say what he's going to say about me, and then he's going to say, ladies and gentlemen, Nashville recording artist Darryl Worley, and it's going to be time for me to fist bump Joe and go on stage.
Yeah.
And I may even mess around for a second and let the guys groove on some song or whatever, but it's getting ready to happen. And if I see it coming ahead of time and I know nobody's going to be in my face, I'll go back away from the light of the stage, find me just a quiet, kind of dark little spot, and I'll just have a little conversation with God at that moment. It's the weirdest thing, because you almost don't know what to say. And so I try to think about it like, I don't want this to be a prayer.
Yeah.
I don't want to go to him and like pray for something that I know he's already granted me.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
That's deep right there. Yeah.
And so we just go, hey, Pops, can you believe I'm doing this? Right. And he's like, yeah, I know that you're doing it. Can you believe that I knew this before I sent you to your mother's womb? And we just have a little banner. It's powerful.
Yeah.
I don't get that very often.
Yeah.
So when I do, I can tell you it's usually a better show. But he knows that I'm carrying him with me.
Yeah.
And that it's going to be okay either way. But when you have that opportunity, not knowing what to do with that time would be a horrible thing.
Well, that's the kicker too. Is I've thought at times, sometimes it's just easier to keep working. It's just easier to keep moving because I'm not thinking about it. I just got to go.
I do it when I can.
Yeah, and
because
then
I want that person that's there with me that had
Yeah.
that had that timing to work out the way it did. I don't want that person thinking, "Oh man, he just blew me off," and he's getting ready to go on stage. That would have been so cool if I could have just stood here and talked to him. And I don't. I just let him talk right up to the last second,
Yeah.
and then I'll fist bump them too, and
Wow.
Joe, and just go do it. But those, I used to almost always catch one of those moments where there was nobody right before I would go on stage at the Tennessee River Run.
Yeah.
And that was huge.
Oh, I can't imagine.
Because we would just
Feel
stand and look out on that lake, and they didn't
Yeah.
even have sound out there at the time, and it would just be people as far as you could see. And I would say, "Father, look at this.
Yeah.
Look what we've done."
Wow.
And then go up there and throw down.
Yeah.
So
We've got a cool comment I want to show you guys. Since Darryl, you always talk about your faith and how you rely on the Lord and stuff. And this comment here on YouTube was so cool. This is from a clip with Ty Herndon talking about knowing Jesus and sharing his blessings. And a little kid came up and said, "Hey, you know Jesus?" Well, someone watched this reel, and that comment right there to me was so cool. Because somebody said, "I'm an atheist." What does it say, Travis?
But this type of stuff warms my heart.
wow. Can I say
Talk about
something
reaching,
about
folks.
that?
Go for
Go
it.
for it.
That's that. I think that's why I pulled it up because
Yeah.
we talked about it at the office.
Well, I don't know if anybody alluded to this, but that's not an atheist.
Okay.
I don't believe that's an atheist. And I say that because an atheist, if I'm wrong on this, you guys can correct me, and I know you will. But if I know the definition, there's a huge difference between an atheist and an agnostic. And an atheist is someone who just absolutely does not believe that there's God. And I don't think somebody that truly believed that
Mhm.
would be talking about how it warms their heart.
Well, it's interesting to me. And again, I don't know who this person is, and I saying it warms their heart was what got me,
That's spiritual.
and it's
Okay, so maybe I'm jumping the gun. I just said it. That's spiritual. I don't suppose he'd have to believe
that
in a
that
God.
God is warming like
But a heartwarming is a spiritual thing.
Yeah.
You don't. Me and my brother had this debate a long, long time ago, and we spent years researching it. You don't have those heartwarming experiences. That's something moving on your spirit.
Yeah.
That's a fact.
Yeah,
I mean,
right.
and it may be the call of a red bird when you stop at the four-way stop by your house in the spring on a beautiful spring day when you got your window down and you hear that, and that red bird reminds you of your grandpa. That may be what that is to you, but it's still moving on your heart and on your spirit. And so that's a very that's
That's
a
cool.
fine line,
That's
man. But I think it's special that we can be doing our normal routine here and have somebody to write in that is a self-professed atheist and say, "That warms my heart." Let me tell you something. Whoever you are, that warms my heart.
Yeah.
That warms my heart in a big way.
Absolutely. What else you got there?
This
Yeah, I
is
was
fun,
curious
man.
about
This is
this
fun
neat
doing
stuff.
this.
Yeah,
with
it's kind of mixing it up.
and I think that they'll love this
But
episode.
I think the goal is to get them to ask us.
Well, sure. Yeah, absolutely.
So Louisiana
no.
Rain.
Yeah, this is a comment on Facebook from Melissa Rowland.
Hey,
Okay.
Melissa.
You can't believe how many requests and how mmany questions I get about this
Yeah.
song.
I'm going to go ahead and read this out loud because it reminded me that we do have people that are just listening to audio.
Oh, true.
And so I want to read this for them. Melissa said, "I've always wondered why you haven't ever re-released Louisiana Rain and what inspired this song."
So the inspiration behind the song, I had been kind of dating the same gal for a lot of years, and we had a lot of history. And I'd gotten out of college. I'd done some other stuff, and I just signed on with a company out of Memphis, Tennessee, called Buckman Laboratories that catered to the paper industry mostly. And I had packed my rear end up and moved to Baker, Louisiana, right outside of Baton Rouge, and was working in the paper mills and some of the refineries and other type industries down there, and doing some chemical stuff. And I left the love interest at home, and so I was big into picking and singing at the time. As a matter of fact, I put together a little, almost like a Cajun trio down there, and we got together. It was me, guitar player, fiddle player, and a piano player, and we had a blast. We played at little seafood restaurants and different things, but so she was, at that time, she was the inspiration for the song. Funny story, I knew, that Louisiana had a lot of rain, but the first 6 months I lived there, I crossed an X on the calendar every single day it rained. It might not rain all day,
But some kind of
but
rain.
at some point in every day, and most of the days were just like today outside, just gloomy and
Yeah.
and I mean that'd run a man in the ground right there. But missing her and not having anyone there with me that was anyone that I knew or was close to, and I lived in this old apartment building, and I just thought, man. I was sitting there one day with my guitar in my lap. I was actually doing my expense report for the company. And I thought, oh, I'm so sick of looking at this. And I just started, and it was raining, thundering, and I wrote the first line. That old thunder shakes the roof on this old apartment building I've been living in. And, man, I swear by midnight that night I had the whole thing written. And it's been changed a lot over the years. We shortened it because it was too long for radio and stuff like that. But I'm going to have to do something with it because I just get too many people asking questions about it. Every time we play out somewhere in the region, somebody wants to hear it. I got to revisit that.
That's cool.
Yeah.
I'm not familiar with it, so I'll have to look it up. I don't think I've heard that one. We were talking about that today on our drive of having some kind of concert. Sam and Mike, I'm telling you guys this as we're talking, of like one of the like private membership type things where you get to watch with your fan club membership or something along those lines, where you get to watch all the songs you've never heard. So he was talking about how he's got an iPad he's got to go find because it's got a bunch of songs that he never put in his catalog. And so it's like, how cool would that be to put you on camera and put the comments up and just have
that'd be
just
awesome.
to hear
Thanks
that
a lot,
music.
Travis. You just announced that over the podcast. Now there's some publisher
locked
somewhere
in now.
going. How many songs are on that iPad?
Yeah.
It's only about 40.
Yeah. If you find the iPad, Darryl will give you $10. So,
Hey, I might give you 10 songs.
there you go. But no, it's good stuff.
That is good stuff.
So,
No, that's old Bend Over.
Bend Over. That's a good one. Where can I see Darryl play next? So, Darryl, you got some upcoming events. I know this is kind of a slower time of year for you. You know, it's anytime it's hunting season and getting the farm ready, you try to take off a little bit, but it does pick up. You've got an event at home in Savannah. That was a good. We went there last year. I was there for that. It was great. Good. Do you remember? Do you know off the top of your head who the songwriters are for that?
You know what's funny you'd ask, and I did know.
I think there were some changes to it too. So I'm not trying to put you on the spot. I think y'all had
could
some.
have all changed, but I know that we're doing it at First Choice Farm and Lawn this time.
Cool.
Have they got the riders that are going to be with me? Is that
That's
what they're
looking
putting up there?
Sam's pulling up your website to see if it's on there.
Okay.
But you've also got a show. It looks like in Kentucky. And of course, you know, you've got a thing coming up in Nevada in April. That seems cool. And then, of course, the big one that we're all excited about, Gulf Coast Jam. That's going to be a cool event. And there's all kinds of things coming up and populating through. So go to Darryl's website. That stays accurate. And we're going to also be putting some of that on your Facebook with actual events and things like that. So we want to reach you guys and let you know. Also, if you want us to come to that area, Let
man,
that
yeah.
contact information's in there, and they are looking to fill out the rest of that calendar. And
Well, I think the beautiful thing about what we're doing with this is the fact that I am, and you guys, I think, also have been able to see the footprint of these people that are part of what we're doing here out there in the field at the live shows and stuff.
Yeah.
It's already made a difference, and I think within a short period of time it's going to make a noticeable difference.
yeah, I agree
And
with that.
so it's an incredible way to communicate with your fan base, but we're communicating with people here too that might not even really truly be part of a fan
Right.
base, if you will, but that could be
Absolutely.
if they continue. And I don't think that they're going to be disappointed at our live shows, because we generally go out and have a pretty good day.
Pretty good day.
Yeah.
They pulled that up there. You got Leslie Satcher, Billy Droz, and of course Andy Griggs coming.
Is
to
that
event.
it? Is that the one in Savannah?
Yeah.
Oh,
You excited
I had a
about that?
different. I had a different lineup in mind. It must have been.
Now, you've got a couple coming up too, so that may be which ones you're looking. I know they were just working on your big event with Bumpus Harley Davidson.
Is that the
Um,
one that they just had up there? Is that the one that's happening in Savannah?
I think that's the one in Savannah they're looking at.
Man, that'll be amazing. The people they just mentioned.
We need to add that to our calendar.
That
That'd be
will
a good one to
really be
go.
good. Do you know who Leslie Satcher
I
is?
know. I don't know.
Well, she's
Please, yeah.
an incredible, very prolific songwriter, but she also had her own deal. She and I have been friends for years and years, and she's a sister in Christ, just an incredible human being. But when she lays it down, man, it is a done deal. I'm telling you. And Billy Droz, I recorded a song that he co-wrote with some friends of mine several years back called "You Never Know," which is something that if you haven't heard, you need to hear it.
Yeah.
That's going
That's
to
gonna
be
be
an
a good
incredible night.
Yeah,
That's
that sounds
exciting.
fun.
Yeah.
Now, one other thing, and then I know we're going to wrap it up. It's not on your calendar, but our friends at Discovery Park of America, you getting a little award over there, aren't you, big dog?
I don't know nothing about that.
Gotcha. Sam, you want to pull that up on the Discovery Park?
I'm telling you right now.
Discovery Park
Are we
of
You
breaking
guys are-
news right now?
you guys
Breaking
are full
news
of
right
surprises.
now.
There's probably supposed to be a ceremony or something.
It's going to be a gala. They raise.
A gala. Woo. You can say that two ways, you know.
Yeah. Keep going, keep going, keep going, keep going. There's the gala. Click on the gala. It's Saturday, March the 8th. They pick people from throughout the region, and they honor them. And so you are receiving one of the Discovery Award, the Robert E. Kirkland, Miss Jenny Kirkland Discovery Award, with some pretty cool folks on there. So
How cool is that?
isn't that fun?
That is really, really, really special, man. I had no idea. I mean, I think I knew we were doing something over there, but
Yeah.
they might have been trying to keep it from me. I don't know.
Well, sorry if
Well,
didn't do
we don't
that.
call you cat out of the bag for nothing.
There you go. Well, that's just I think that's really cool, and that's a big
So
event.
do I.
And, you were saying earlier we were talking about Scott in the truck and Scott Williams and how cool he is, and just our
Oh,
friends
man.
over there and how great that is. And he talks about everything that you mean to West Tennessee, and of course he's one of those guys that does so much research and they put so much effort into this. So we're excited to help them raise some money that night.
Absolutely. It'd be wonderful.
Yeah.
I'm flattered and honored and don't even know what to say.
Good. That's what I like to hear.
I don't. And I'm going to tell you something. I love that place. And he is such a special guy.
Yeah.
I mean, he didn't have to come to that place. He could have gone anywhere in the world.
Yeah.
Because you can tell by just sitting there. And he came and spent quality time with us and talked.
Mhm.
I mean, what a great guy. I just thought it was amazing. And to be running a place like that, and what about the Kirklands?
Oh man.
I mean, just to pour that money into the community and
Yeah.
say, we want to. I mean, people come from everywhere to see that place, man.
Yeah.
If you haven't been to Discovery Park, you need to discover
There you-
Discovery Park.
Well, I think that's a good place for us to start to wrap this episode up. Now, we do have a couple things that we want to put out there. Again, we're seeing a lot of people finding us on other platforms. And so, Mike, if you want to tell us where they can find the show.
Good idea.
Yeah, absolutely. This is like a pop quiz.
Keep it on the tip
We
of your
got
tongue.
YouTube, Spotify,
Facebook.
Apple Music,
Wow.
Amazon, and
Rumble.
many more. Rumble.
We're on Rumble now?
We're getting
Oh,
on Rumble
yeah.
now, so looking forward to that.
That's why I kicked it out to you, because I was like, I'm not going to remember all of that.
And then I had to kick it out to Sam.
Sam's whispered in the side, and I love it. So fun stuff there. We'll also be sending out stuff, lots of opportunity for sponsorships. A lot of folks wanting to get involved. They're seeing the impact. And so we would love to talk to you, whether you're a business or an individual. There's a little thing as you're looking, if you're on Facebook specifically, there's a little thing on there that says send stars. So if you like what we're doing, that's an easy way for you to click on that. I don't know if it's Venmo or what the financial platform
I
is.
saw that on Neil McCoy's
Neil McCoy, yeah.
doing the pledge.
Yep.
And that's talking about, that's just a tip.
Yeah, you're just saying, Darryl, here's a couple bucks.
Send stars. Send stars. Millions of them.
Yes. That's just a good way for you guys to say, hey, we support y'all. We've got some things
Absolutely.
we've been talking and dreaming, and we have had so much fun with taking this thing on the road, and there's some really big opportunities that we're wanting to do. We're wanting to take this down to Gulf Coast Jam. We're wanting to go visit some of his celebrity friends and those types of things, and just but we can't do it without you guys. And you're
That's
doing
right.
it first by listening. You're doing it first by talking. And we wouldn't be asking for that kind of financial support now if it weren't for the 4.8 million views on Reels and 8 million impressions and 430% growth over the last 90 days.
90 days, baby.
That's pretty cool.
Now, I mean, we've got to get the sponsorship thing rolling, and I know that's going to happen. I never saw any of this coming, and so to me, the whole thing's a God thing.
Yeah.
And so I'm not worried about it, not one little bit. The sponsorships will come.
Yep.
We're going to CRS. We're going to interview all kinds of people. Check this out. I know I probably shouldn't even say this, so y'all can whack it off at the end and not even use it if you want to, but I'm not trying to run long on this, but I got to say this. We just kind of put a feeler out to a bunch of people, letting them know that we won't come to CRS and bring the podcast live. This is what's already happened in 90 days. We had so many artists respond that we can't do them all.
Yeah.
So we got to put them all in a hat and draw them out and to see who's going to be on the podcast. So whatever we have time to do, we'll do as many of that as we can while we're in Nashville, and you'll get to see those episodes right here. So that's a pretty good deal. Pretty good thing happening right there. I can tell you, because those it's not easy to get an artist on your podcast.
It's not.
And they want to come on here because it's blowing up, and it's because of y'all. Thank you very much.
Sounds Like Life with Darryl Worley is a Bluespire music production. Hosted by Darryl Worley and Travis McLeese. Produced and edited by Mike Murphy and Sam Hudson. Set designed by Sam Hudson. Theme song Sounds Like Life to Me by Darryl Worley. Executive producers Paul Perry, Julian Drennan, and Travis McLeese.
It's just a common case of everyday